Okay, so yesterday we went back to 6th grade and did one-step equations. So today we're going to go back to 7th grade and do 2 steps. So what does that mean? You're going to have two. How many steps is it going to take to solve the equation? 2. Okay, so what is an equation? Something that sets two things equal. So to be an equation, it just has to have an equal sign. What isn't a variable?
A variable that's less than
A letter that represents a missing number. All right, so yesterday your only step was to decide, number 1, what side is the variable on, and then number 2, do I need to add, subtract, divide, or multiply to move this number to get it to the other side? How do you move a number? You do the opposite operation. Okay, so if you look, I wrote your 2 steps here. Your first step is to get rid of the number that's by itself, the constant. So you're going to add or subtract to isolate the variable term. So the number that's attached to the x goes last. That's its best friend. It doesn't want to leave it. It's attached to it. Make sense? The number that's by itself is going to go first by adding or subtracting. Then you're going to multiply or divide in that last step to get the x by itself. And so I will show you. Let's go do example 1. So the first thing I taught you is to separate the left from the right. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right side of the equation. So find the variable and point to it. So what is your goal? We learned this yesterday. What's our goal? To get the x by itself. So if I want to get this x by itself, this 3 and this 5 need to go. That's why it's called a 2-step equation, because we got to get rid of both the 5 and the 3. Based off of what I just told you, which one is going to go first? The 5. Why? The 3 is the best friend of the x. He doesn't want to leave. Okay? You always get rid of the number that is not attached to the x first. So cover that up. How are you going to get rid of a plus 5? Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. I don't see everybody paying attention. Okay, draw your line. This is step 1. Now we're just going to kind of bring everything down that we just did. This has zeroed out. 5 minus 5 is 0. I have not done anything to this 3x, so I just bring it down and write it. And negative 16 minus 5 is what? Put it in your calculator. How would you put it in? Tell me how to put this in.
Negative 16 minus 5.
Thank you. Negative 16 minus 5, which is? Negative 21. Let the calculator do the work for you. Now your last step is to get rid of the coefficient of x. And if you look right here, the second step is to multiply or divide. What did we learn yesterday? When the number is attached to the x with no sign, that means multiplication. So the opposite operation is to divide. So I divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 cancels out to 1, and 1 times x is x. So it is gone. And negative 21 divided by 3. Remember I told you you can put this in your calculator as a fraction and let it simplify it. Or you can put it in as a division problem, because a fraction bar means to divide. So if you look, you can put it either way. Here's the fraction way. Here's the division way. Did I get the same answer? Yes. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. The answer is negative 7. Now, should you make 100 today?
Yes.
Why?
Because this is
Say that. The calculator can do it for you. If you have forgot, on the back I put the steps. Okay, but I'm going to do the first one with you just to check. So to check your equation, you're going to go to y equals. Everybody should be doing it with me. In y1, I'm going to put the left side of the equation. So 3x plus 5. In y2, I'm going to put the right side of the equation, which is negative 16. Now what do I do? Second trace, option 5, wait for it to graph or it'll freeze. And then what? Enter 3 times until you see the word intersection. Did we get the right answer? Will I grade your paper if you don't show work? No, I will not. Okay, you have to be able to do these by hand for algebra. All right, let's go do this one. I want you to do step 1 on your own. Go. Okay, what was step 1? Did you get rid of the 3 or the 2 first? The 2. Why? Because the 3 is attached to the x. It's got to go last. So how am I going to get rid of a minus 2? The opposite of minus 2 is plus 2. Whatever I do to the left, otherwise my equation goes like this, and it's no longer equal. So I have 3x equals 18. Now, how am I going to get rid of the 3?
3 is, as we all know, is multiplication of divide.
3 is attached to the x by multiplication, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and I am left with x equals in 18 thirds, or 18 divided by 3 is 6. This is super easy, yes? All right, let's look at example 3. What's different about this example?
It's flipped.
It's flipped. Doesn't matter. No. What is our goal to solve an equation? What's our goal? To get the x by itself. Here's the x. So what do I need to get rid of? The 3 and the 2. Which one do I get rid of first? The 3. How am I going to get rid of a plus 3? Minus 3. Whatever I do to the right, I have to do to the left. So I have 9 minus 3, which is 6, equals 2x. Now I want to get rid of the 2 because my goal is to get the x by itself. 2 is being multiplied by x, so the opposite is 2. Divide both sides by 2. This is going to cancel out because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 1 times x is x. So I have x equals 6 halves, or 6 divided by 2 is 3. And if you want to write your answer like this, it is the same thing. Okay, I want you to try example 4 all on your own. Remember, your goal is to get the x by itself. Okay, again, what is the goal when you solve an equation? To get the x? Okay, so if I look at the x, what is on the left side with it? 5 and 8. So I need to get rid of both of those. Which one do I get rid of first? How do I get rid of a minus 8? Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. Now I'm just going to simplify what I did. This cancels out. I am left with 5x equals, and what is 22 plus 8? 30. My last step is to get rid of x's coefficient. It's like, it's together. So I'm going to get rid of it because it's being multiplied. What am I going to do? Divide by 5. This cancels out to 1, and 1 times x is x. 30/5, or 30 divided by 5 is 6. What do y'all think? Good? Okay, the last two look a little bit different. What is different about them? The second step is not, the x isn't being multiplied, it's being divided. So our second step will be different. Our first step will be exactly the same. So let's do this one together. So here's the x. So what am I going to get rid of? What two things need to go? 2 and 4. What's going to go first? Why? Because the 4 is attached to the x. It goes last. So I'm going to get rid of the plus 2. How do I get rid of a plus 2? Minus 2. Whatever I do to the left, I have to do to the right. So I am left with x divided by 4 equals 5 minus 2 is 3.
Is it 3 fourths or just 3?
Hold on. We're here. So x is being divided by 4. What is the opposite operation of division? So to get rid of the 4, I am going to multiply both sides by 4. This cancels out. I am left with x equals, and what is 3 times 4?
12.
Then I'm done. Try the last one on your own. It looks just like that. What is your goal? I can't hear y'all. To get the x by itself, what has got to go? The 30 and the 10. Which one goes first? Why? Because it's not attached to the x. How do I get rid of a plus 30? Minus 30. That cancels out. I am left with x divided by 10 equals 56 minus 30, which is 26. Okay, now I need to get rid of the 10. I'm going to do the opposite operation of x being divided by 10. What is the opposite? Multiply by 10. Whatever I do to the left, I'm going to do to the right. This cancels out, and I'm left with x equals 260. What should you make on your assignment today? Why? Because you're going to check every single answer in your y equals button. Does everybody understand? All right, it is due by the end of the class. Put it in the tray when you're finished, and then you may get a Chromebook when you're finished and work on something. Just make sure I get everything turned back in.